I used to be a trucker, spending about 10 years on the road. These days, I avoid driving whenever I can, even outside of work. It's not that I'm afraid of driving itself, but rather the idea of destinations. Whenever you get behind the wheel, there's always somewhere you're heading, a place you intend to go. Even if it's just the idea of getting away, it's still a destination. People often say, it's about the journey, not the destination, but I think that's nonsense. Whoever enjoyed the long drive to their vacation spot? It's always the awkward, quiet part of the trip. But what I hate most is driving through the Midwest. Every town looks the same. Cookie-cutter gas stations, a few neighborhoods, and maybe a corner store. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all. One summer evening, I found myself on Route 23 between Iowa and Nebraska, surrounded by endless cornfields. During the day, the sight of those green fields can be beautiful, stretching out like an ocean. But at night, they take on a more sinister quality. You can't help but wonder what might be hiding in the cornstalks. For a trucker, it's nerve-wracking. If something or someone were to dart out, stopping a 30-ton truck would be impossible. As darkness set in, with nothing but my truck's headlights and the moon lighting the way, I started getting drowsy. That's when I saw it. Exit 202. I'd driven this route before, but this exit was unfamiliar. Figuring it was a new development and needing a break, I decided to take it. What I didn't expect was the narrow, neglected road I found myself on, flanked by nothing but corn. There were no lights, no cars, no buildings, just miles and miles of corn. Eventually, I spotted a dim neon pink sign in the distance. Mabel's Diner. The building looked like it was falling apart, the light flickering, and the whole place appeared rusted and worn down. But the open sign was still on, and with no better options, I parked my truck and went inside. The bell above the door rang weakly as I entered. The place was nearly empty, with a few patrons who barely glanced up from their plates. The tired waitress behind the counter, whose name tag read Mabel, served me eggs and sausage with a smile that seemed to carry the weight of years. As I ate, I noticed how silent the place was, too silent. No scraping utensils, no murmurs, no hum of lights, not even the buzz of a fly. The unease grew in my chest, and I quickly paid my bill and left. That's when I made a chilling discovery. My truck was gone. The parking lot was empty, and there was no signal on my phone to call for help. As I stood there, frozen in shock, I heard the faint jingle of the diner's bell and Mabel's cold voice from behind me. "Oh dear, your truck's gone. Come on in, stay a while. We'll call someone for you." She stood in the doorway, unnervingly still, like a mannequin. There was something horribly wrong about her voice, flat and hollow. Panic set in, and I knew I couldn't go back inside. I turned and started walking, hoping to find my way back to the highway. But the further I walked, the more I felt trapped, surrounded by corn, alone in the dark. Then I heard her voice again, piercing the night air. "Stay a while. We'll keep you company." I turned to see her standing in the road, deathly still. Slowly, the other patrons began to emerge from the corn, moving unnaturally. As they got closer, I saw their skin wasn't real. It was stretched over straw, held together by stitches. They grabbed me, their grip impossibly strong, as Mabel approached with her cold, dead eyes fixed on me. In a surge of adrenaline, I kicked her as hard as I could. She barely reacted, stumbling back in confusion. That moment of weakness was enough for me to break free. I ran as fast as I could, my heart pounding, my lungs burning. After what felt like hours, I saw headlights in the distance. I flagged down the driver, breathlessly explaining that someone was trying to kill me. He let me in and started driving. But as we drove, I realized with growing dread that something was terribly wrong. The driver was confused. There was no Mabel's Diner, no exit 202. As we approached a small Midwestern town, there was no sign of the diner, my truck, or my attackers. The cornfields ended, and I was left wondering what had just happened. I went to the local police and gave my statement. My boss sent someone to pick me up, but when I reported my truck missing, things got even stranger. They told me my truck was still in the garage. Only when I saw it, it wasn't the same truck. The license plate, the color, it was different, and the keys in my pocket didn't match any truck in the company's records. I quit soon after that. I haven't left town much since, and I avoid cornfields like the plague. But lately, I've been seeing things again. Just the other day, while driving to get groceries, I saw a sign for exit 143. And no matter how hard I look, there's no exit 143 on any map.